Guys, welcome back. Welcome back. I know I did an immediate reaction after the game. I feel like my thoughts are a little bit more in sync right now, so I think I can process and kind of give a more abstract comprehension of the game earlier. It was I felt a little discombobulated earlier because there were so many things that you can pick and point at to why we lost the game. And in a game like this where it just feels like if you're in total control, but it just feels like the things that you need to go your way in order to win are going to eventually happen. And for most of the game, up until the final couple of minutes, it felt that no matter what happens throughout the course of this game, Saquon running for 60 something yard touchdown, whatever it may be, it felt that in the end the Saints were going to find a way to win, and it looked like that was going to be the case, especially after Olave grabbed that touchdown. And we get the Eagles into a 3rd and 16 situation, and you're thinking, okay, just you know, play zone, make sure that you can not blow any assignments, try to get home up front, try to get some pressure, all that good stuff. Dennis Allen plays man on man coverage. Our two defenders completely run into each other. I mean, absolute breakdown in the secondary. And all of a sudden, let you have them in the car. Or,
They were in the washer, but
I put them in the bag. They're up in the house. Bringing my brother home. So just excuse that. He might chip in because he was kind of pissed off after the game, like myself. But you have him at a 3rd and 16. I mean, it's your game to win. It's your situation to to take advantage of, and you have an absolute breakdown, inexcusable breakdown in the secondary, and all of a sudden you get them at 1st and goal. You set them up at 1st and goal at the 4 yard line, and at that point, it really didn't matter whether you let them score or not, because I mean, you get them to the 2 yard line, all they got to do is the little tush push that they always do. So it's just one of those things. Like I mean, it's an inexcusable turn of events that happened, and it seems like this is the theme with the New Orleans Saints constantly. And I mean, it's hard to point the finger at one specific person or unit in a game like this where you literally can defend and you can also fault every single unit. I mean, offensively, you score 3 points through 3 quarters. Okay, 3 points through 3 quarters. I think this kind of signified how important Eric McCoy and Taysom Hill were for us, because as soon as Eric McCoy went out on the third play, it seemed like the exact complexion of the game just kind of changed. As soon as Eric McCoy went out, you have you have to shift the offensive line. You're putting somebody else at center, and all of a sudden your entire chemistry of what you've done the first 2 weeks is shifted. And when you look at Philadelphia's defensive line, it's a bunch of Georgia players, a bunch of Georgia first rounders that are, they're physical and big, and it just worked into their favor. And we could not adjust. We couldn't adjust. We couldn't move the ball after that first possession of the game. And when you don't have Taysom Hill in there, and you can't block up front, you can't run the football. I mean, what are you going to do? In spite of all that, though, in spite of all that, though, the Saints did have one thing in their favor, and it's an absolute shame that they didn't take advantage of it. They were playing the smart game. They had the smart game in their favor, and what I mean by that is, if you just simply make the right decisions, you make the right choices, you you do what you're supposed to do. Philadelphia wasn't. I mean, in that first half, they got inside our territory 4 different times, came up with no points because they turned the football over twice, fumbling and throwing an interception, and then Nick Sirianni decides to go for it twice and misses. So Philadelphia is giving you the game, like they're giving it to you on a platter, and you can't take advantage. And that's one of the things that pissed me off today. And that's why I said earlier, I knew that there was only so long we were going to be able to get away with this. So Philadelphia was not smart on their end. Regardless of whether they won or not, Nick Sirianni called a terrible game. Terrible. Philadelphia out-yarded us by over double. They should have won this game by 2 touchdowns. Nick Sirianni did not call a good game. He handed it to the Saints. It was for the Saints it was for the taking. If the Saints were smart, they would have won today. You get a blocked punt. You get inside field goal range. It's 4th and 1. Now you know you don't have the edge at offensive line. You know some of your main pieces are missing. You don't have Taysom Hill. What do? You run the ball up the middle with Kamara and you miss it. Instead of taking the field goal, and I get it, you kick the field goal, you're only up 6-0. But you change the dynamic of the game. Instead of the pressure being off of Philadelphia and like it was, and them knowing that they don't need a touchdown, they can get a touchdown, but they don't need it. Now all of a sudden they need a touchdown when you're up 6-0. A team that hadn't scored the entire game, they know that they need a touchdown. Their back is against the wall. And instead of giving them that pressure and putting that pressure on them, you decide to go for it on 4th and 1, in spite of the fact that you haven't been able to move the ball the entire game. You turn it over on downs, and a few plays later, touchdown Philadelphia. And yeah, if that one thing goes the other way, if that one thing goes in our favor, who knows what kind of game we have at the end? Who knows if we go to overtime or whatever the case may be. So all the Saints had to do was play the smart game and just make the right decisions because Philadelphia wasn't. I mean, Nick Sirianni decided to go for a 60-yard field goal up by 1 point with like 7 minutes to go. This is how bad of a game Nick Sirianni called and how much of an advantage the Saints really had at coaching today. And I can't believe I'm saying that because you have Dennis Allen on the sideline. He's not the smartest individual. We know that. Nick Sirianni decided to go for a 60-yard field goal. He missed it and gave you the field position that eventually ended up getting you a touchdown. All of Nick Sirianni's BS calls throughout the game, and Philadelphia still won the game? They still won? It's a shame, man. It's a shame. And then on defense, listen, the defense struggled. You can look at the score 3 points. They played bend but don't break. I get it. But Philadelphia out-yarded us by over double. They had 460 yards of offense today. We had 220, something like that. The defense did not play well today. Now, granted, they did a good job at bending and not breaking. And to their defense, they were on the field for such a long time because our offense couldn't move the ball. Our offense supposedly was being coached by Pete Carmichael. But in the end, when it mattered the most, and the defense really had an edge, and they had that pressure on Philadelphia, knowing they need a touchdown, not a field goal. All we got to do is defend our end zone, and we win. They folded. 3rd and 16, dude. 3rd and 16. You just get done getting a sack, and then they throw an incomplete pass. And you let Dallas Goedert, a guy who you let beat you the entire game, get loose and go stroll down the sideline for 61 yards. How do you not make an adjustment to him during the game? He's been cooking you. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, their 2 receivers, their number 1 and 2 guys, are out. Who do you think they're going to go to next? Why are you not making adjustments? Why was there not an adjustment made? That's where the coaching gets me pissed off. Dennis Allen, the defensive guru. Why didn't you do something about Dallas Goedert? He's been cooking you the entire game, man. And they don't have any receivers out there. And that's what pisses me off about this game. It's not the fact that we lost the game, it's how we lost the game. They literally gave us everything that we wanted. They gave us the game. They said, here, New Orleans, here. Take it. We don't want it. And we still couldn't capitalize. Still couldn't capitalize. We responded to them by shooting ourselves in the foot. Letting up a 3rd and 16. 4th and short, you can't run the ball the entire game. Oh, let's run the ball on 4th down. Let's direct snap it to Kamara the play before. Let's get cute. Instead of kicking a chip shot field goal that would have put you up by 6. And like I said, I get it. Eric McCoy meant a lot to this game. Eric McCoy meant a lot. If he had stayed healthy, I do believe we would have won the game. I'm not making an excuse for that, though. I'm not making an excuse for Taysom Hill. Although those are 2 significant figures in our offense, I'm not making excuses because in spite of those happening, in spite of those injuries, the Saints still should have won this game. And that's what pisses me off. That if you just play smart, you win. Typical. I mean, Philadelphia, there's nothing good about what they did today. And anybody that wants to come on and say that's a statement win for Philadelphia and Philadelphia's back, no. I wouldn't be shocked if they turned around and lost to the Bucks next Sunday, who just got done losing to Denver. I wouldn't be shocked if they went to Tampa and lost that game. I don't think Philadelphia's that good, and granted, they were missing some of their key pieces, but nothing about what they did today was that impressive. I give them credit for taking advantage and winning the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They did do that. I will give them credit on that in that angle. But in relation to play calling and decision making and all that other stuff, Philadelphia, I mean, Nick Sirianni is not off the hook because of this. Nick Sirianni made some of the dumbest play calls I've ever seen in my life in this game, and we still lost. It's frustrating because I mean it's a game on your home field that you really should have won. You really should have won this game. When you got them at 3rd and 16, and I mean you can throw everything out throughout the game out the window. When you have them at 3rd and 16, 3rd and 16, the crowd behind you, 3rd and 16, you've held them to 7 points the entire game. We just need you one more time, defense. We just need you one more time. 3rd and 16, And you got dudes running into each other, and Dallas Goedert's down the field for 61 yards. Unbelievable, man. Makes me wonder if these close games are going to be our Achilles heel this season. Is that going to be what sets us back? And I agree, Jordan. 2-1 is not a bad start. It's not. And I'll say it. I didn't expect us to be 2-1 right now. I said we'd be 1-2. But based on how you played the first 2 weeks, I mean, you're showing us that you can play better than what we thought you could. Therefore, when you show us that you can play better than what we thought you could, you're held to a higher standard at that point. I mean, you put up 40 plus points in the first 2 weeks. I mean, you're not going to put up 40 points every game. It's nobody said that. Wasn't expecting you to put up 40 points in this game, but being able to be competent at the minimum, at least, like, I mean, it looked like I was watching last year's Saints, man. It looked like I was watching last year's Saints, and I'm hoping that this was just a little bump in the road, and just a matter of injuries. And we played 2 great games. Somebody was going to catch on. Philadelphia was desperate. I'm hoping that's what it was. Okay, I'm hoping this is not a trend, a pattern that's going to continue. Because if this goes on for the next couple of weeks, yeah, I get it. I said we'd be 1-4 after 5 games. We're going to be no worse than 2-3. But if you go on and do that on the road the next couple of weeks and you end up 2-3, I don't think I'm going to feel I'm not going to feel really confident. I'm not going to feel as confident. It's a shame. Now the Eagles, they can say the same thing. If they take the field goals and they don't throw interceptions and fumble and all that other good stuff, they probably beat us by a touchdown, at least 10 points. But it's the fact that they gave you everything, and they constantly kept on making mistakes, and you could not capitalize. And whenever you had the chance, you had the game in your grasp, all you got to do is play defense. You choke it up, you choke it away. And after that 61-yard reception of Dallas Goedert, I get it. Derek Carr, people are going to talk about Derek Carr is not clutch, this, that, and the third. Horrible throw. If you're going to give credit where it's due, you got to criticize when it's necessary as well. That was a terrible throw at the end of the game. But at that point, as a fan, I'm already numb. Like I'm just so numb at that point, to where it's like I just can't believe we just let up a 61-yard pass play on a 3rd and 16. It's like it's a tough loss, man. It's a difficult loss because there's so much to go around. So much to go around. The most consistent thing all day long was probably the special teams. That's about it. That's about the only good thing that happened throughout the day. Block punt, made all the field goals. I mean, they pinned them inside the 20 a few times, punting the ball. I believe we can get better too, Cash. It's frustrating in the sense that it's not about losing the game that pisses me off. It's about how we lost. And the way we lost this game resembles the immaturity that we've seen with this team the last few years, just blowing winnable games. Even though Philadelphia can say the same thing, they out-yarded us by like 200 and something yards, more than doubled our yardage. So I get their frustration if they were to lose. I think they'd definitely be more frustrated with a loss than we are. But it's just the fact that you're not going to get a lot of games where teams hand you opportunities and teams just give you silver platters. You're not going to have that. And Nick Sirianni for the first half and up and all the way up until like the midway point of the fourth quarter when he decided to go for a 60-yard field goal, the Eagles were giving us everything we needed. And we took advantage and got the game leading touchdown towards the end, but the damn defense decides, I don't know who the two defenders were. I'm not sure if it was Will Harris and Willie Gay, or I forgot who it was. They all of a sudden, Dennis Allen calls a man coverage play, and the defenders run into each other. And it's just, at that point, all I can say is typical Saints, man. Typical Saints. So I'm pissed off at how we lost. Not necessarily because we lost, it's how we lost. And that's probably going to be the theme for most of the year. So, with that being said, that's the recap. A winnable game that we blew. So, take it easy, bro. Be safe, man. A winnable game that we blew. And could have easily won. It's just, it's a shame, man. It's a shame. You're up 3-0 for 3 quarters, man. While still being out-yarded by 200 yards. Like, you would think there'd be some urgency at that. You know, you're not playing a bad team. Regardless of how much they've been struggling, you're not playing a bad team. But would that not alarm you that you're up 3-0 going into the fourth quarter? You're up 3-0 going into the fourth quarter. You got a fourth down. Kick the field goal, man. Put the urgency on them to go down and score a touchdown. I mean, I'm sorry, but you'd have to be a little alarmed that you're getting away with murder right now. Like, we're up 3-0. We're getting away with a lot. They're not, I mean, they're moving the ball. It's not like they're not moving the ball. They're moving the ball. They're just shooting themselves in the foot. So why are we shooting ourselves in the foot? I hope we pick this up going into next week. It's going to be a tough game in Atlanta. It's almost to the point to where I'd rather the Falcons win tonight, just so we're not playing another desperate team, if that makes sense. Because, and this is just, I mean, this is just the algorithm of the NFL. But I believe if Philadelphia won on Monday night against Atlanta, I feel like we would have won today had Philadelphia just won on Monday night, because the urgency wouldn't have been so sincere. I feel like there'd be room for error on their part, and I feel like I feel like the sense of urgency for them wouldn't have been that. It wouldn't have been that urgent. Wouldn't have been that important. But because they lost, they knew, okay, we got to get it together. We just got done losing a very tough game. We got to go and get this right on the road against a team that's been playing well. And they were desperate. They were hungry. That's why, it's not always who you play. It's about when you play them. You're right, Cameron. We're still in first place. You try to look at the positives here, but it's one of those things where it's like we really should have won this game today, man. And nothing the Eagles did today was impressive, in my opinion. I think Nick Sirianni is a doofus for doing all the things that he did, going for it on fourth down twice instead of kicking field goals, kicking a 60-yard field goal. Are you kidding me? A 60-yard field goal when you're up 1 point with 7 minutes to go and your defense has been playing good? And you got a pretty good, you're in a pretty good position to punt the ball inside the 10. I mean, dude, this was a game of dumb and dumber. I mean, really. And I mean, Dennis Allen. Listen, I'm not saying. You know how I feel about Dennis Allen. I don't think he's a great head coach. I think he's a great defensive mind, which in the fourth quarter he ended up failing us by calling man coverage in the fourth quarter, which made our players run into each other instead of just playing a simple zone defense. I mean, you know what they're doing. They're throwing the damn ball. But I don't think Dennis Allen is a great head coach. I think there are. I mean, it just seemed like today was a game of Dumb and Dumber, and it seemed like Nick Sirianni made more mistakes, but still came out on top. That's the part that sucks. So, with that being said, guys, that's all the negative. I just hope that our guys can get back healthy and we can move on from this and try to take this forward. But in the meantime, guys, we got a very important game against Atlanta coming up next Sunday. I mean, we got to beat the Falcons. I personally think just for our momentum and just for our confidence going forward, I think we got to beat the Falcons. I still think we can be a team that wins 10 games. I don't think we're a bad football team. I'm hoping that we learn from this and move forward. I'm just, yeah. Oh, by the way, this is the first win that Philadelphia had in New Orleans at the Superdome since 2007. That's 4 presidents ago. Philadelphia had not won here since I was in the 4th grade. Damn, dude. Damn. Damn, damn, damn. Anyway, we got to be more efficient next week. Offense has to move the ball. We cannot look like Pete Carmichael called our plays today next week. We got to move forward for this, okay? Well, anyway, guys, listen, 2-1 is not a bad record. We're better. We started better than I thought we would. So we're in a good spot, I believe. I just can't stand the Eagles, man. I hate them. Can't stand that freaking team, dude. But it is what it is, guys. You got to take your L sometimes, and we took an L today. But we'll be on to next week for the Falcons, though. So with that being said, guys, y'all take it easy. Who dat always. Tough loss today, but we got to move forward. But you guys be good, and I'm out.